Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. Really glad you're with us here. I'm in Indiana. It's kind of drizzly here, and we have a flake or two of snow falling. Wherever you are, I hope that inside your heart there's a little bit of warmth and love and care, no matter what's going on outside. Two people that I think are always warm, loving, and caring. Dr. Sherry Keffer, Dr. Alice Benton are with us here today. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey, good. And it is so glorious outside. It is sunny, blue skies, white puffy clouds, and we can see snow on the mountains.
Are you rubbing it in since snowflakes are falling where Steve is?
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
We got to give them a hard time every
snowflakes.
once in a while. Yeah, but they're nice when
I
they're
like it.
further away and you're getting a tan while you're looking at the beautiful mountains.
Well, if you'd like to join us on the program today, we've got really some good things to share with you today, but maybe there is an issue that you've wondered about, or you're curious about, or you're hurting over. Here's the phone number, 1-800-229-3000. During our devotions today, we were talking about so many people saying this: fear or faith. Kind of like, well, if you're afraid, then you don't have faith, and that can be such a shaming thing. And I have to tell you, I don't think that if you're afraid of certain things, that is a sign of a lack of faith. What is a sign of a problem is if your fear, even though you have faith, starts to overcome everything that you do. Maybe you were raised in a home that was fear-based, and it's kind of the foundation of what you live with. And then you've lost somebody that you counted on. Well, that would add to fear and anxiety. Then this comes, and then you lose your job. Well, who wouldn't have some kind of concern or anxiety over that? But what we have to do is we have to not allow Satan to use that fear to destroy the faith in God. God never says he's going to he says he'll wipe away the tears, but he won't prevent those things in a fallen world outside the Garden of Eden. He won't prevent those from happening because we messed up in the garden, and Adam and Eve messed up, and if we'd been there, we'd been the ones that would have messed up. So what do? Well, if we're starting to be overcome by our fears, we have to ask ourselves, would a chat with a friend relieve that? Do that. If not, would a support group? If not, reading a book about things like Max Lucado's book, Anxious for Nothing. If not, what about a counselor and getting some counseling over the phone or through video? I did a telehealth with my physician this morning, and it was really amazing. Didn't realize he had blue eyes. So these are times where we say, what do I need to do to get to the victory place, to not be overcome or overwhelmed? And if you call us, if you don't know what to do, if you call us, we will help you. In fact, I actually created a tip sheet entitled What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And you can get that and many, many more resources at newlife.com or by calling us, where you can talk to real live people, not fake ones, but real ones, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But if you want to join us here, it's 1-800-229-3000. We'll take this break. We'll come right back. And don't forget, Every Man's Battle one-day workshop this Saturday. And we've got people signing up just like they did for the other one. It's so exciting to see people signing up and say, okay, I want to try this. I want to do this. It's going to be an exciting day of transformation. And how sad if you have a normal Saturday when all you had to do was call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and say, count me in for Every Man's Battle. Could change everything. We'll be back right after this with Dr. Sherry Keffer, Dr. Alice Benton.
For years, all I did was focus on my husband, and my needs were unmet because of his sexual addiction. The counselors focused on him, and all the books I read were about him and how to help him.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
This weekend gives me permission to now focus on me.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
I am so thankful to New Life for giving me what I know now is going to be a new life.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas June 26th through the 28th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Sherry Keffer and Dr. Alice Benton. Your phone calls at 1-800-229-3000. And how about we go to Gabe from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, listening on WBYN. Gabe, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I listen to your show almost every day when I'm working, and you guys are great.
Well, I am so thankful that you listen.
Thank you. My question is, and then I can give you details, how much should my wife and I be involved in Mary and Linda's lives and situation during this time? And the summary situation is Mary is a 17-year-old girl who was adopted from India 10 years ago.
Okay.
And her mother, Linda, is a single mom who never got married, but she was a missionary in India for 10 years and adopted this young lady and brought her back to America 5 years ago.
Okay. What's the problem?
And they have a tense relationship for different reasons, but the bottom line is Mary is pregnant. She's 17 years old. She got pregnant with a neighborhood boyfriend who's over 18, and since that happened about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the mom doesn't know what to do and asked us if we could take her daughter in for a few days until she figures out what to do with this whole situation.
All right. What does the mother mean she doesn't know what to do? What's she considering doing?
She's considering finding a home that is something like a Christian home for young women who are pregnant, where she can get Christian counseling and where she can get the support that she doesn't feel like she can necessarily offer or is equipped to offer her daughter.
Okay.
And
well, let's
also,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Also, Steve, this adds a really bad layer to the whole situation. But the young man who she got pregnant with does have a history of being a predator. He was caught having sexual activity with a 9-year-old at some point in the past, and so the reason why the mother doesn't want her daughter living in her house immediately right now is because that boy lives right next door, and they secretly still want to be together, the 17-year-old girl and the man who's going to be the father. So it's not a safe situation, obviously.
All right. Well, let's start with Sherry here and get her insight into this, and then we'll go to Alice Benton.
You hear a big sigh. You know, Gabe, it's just so overwhelming, and what a heartbreak to hear all the layers of this. Let me go to the first thing first is, so this predator, has someone filed a child abuse report regarding the...
Yes.
Okay, so all that's been done.
He was adopted as well, and his parents know about the issue. But the mother, Linda, actually filed a restraining order, I think is what it was called, because she knew about the sexual past with the 9-year-old boy. And when she found out that her daughter is now pregnant with this man's baby, she immediately went to the courts and did whatever the legal stuff was
Right. But somebody, I'm just surprised if he was with a minor and he's a pedophile, like I'm surprised he's not incarcerated right now. I guess I'm a little confused as to why he's still roaming around if there's been a child abuse report. So that's a big deal, right?
Big deal.
So how are you feeling overwhelmed by her feeling of overwhelmed?
Part of the way my wife and I are feeling overwhelmed, this might sound kind of weird, but we kind of feel like puppets because the mom is over controlling and she only lets people into her daughter's lives who tell her everything. So, for example, today the mother is planning to fire the Christian counselor who's been working with her daughter for the past 2 years because her daughter called the Christian counselor yesterday to get advice without telling her mom that she was going to do so. And now her mom feels like she's going behind her back by talking to the counselor without her being involved.
So you know what's
overwhelmed because
yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
You feel overwhelmed
We feel
because
overwhelmed because the mom is like, can you please talk to my daughter about how she should respect me and honor me and she shouldn't be disobedient? And then she'll ask us 2 or 3 days later, have you talked to my daughter about those things yet? And we're feeling like, okay, we're probably being overly involved, but it's obviously a very delicate situation, so we do want to help in any way we can.
So let me be really straight. She's trying to control you guys because she's feeling out of control. That's how this mom, because of her own fear. You know, Steve opened the show today talking about fear. There's fear-induced control. And this is when somebody is feeling overwhelmed in their situation, and the only way they know how, it's not healthy, it's actually hurtful, is they try to clamp down harder and to control the daughter, control the therapist, control you guys. So this is what I would suggest you say. We appreciate and care for you, and we deeply care for your daughter, as you know. This is really outside our ability to manage. There's so much going on. So I don't think that our counsel can assist the high level of needs that you need. Would you be willing to go to us, with us, to a counselor? We'll be happy to go together if that would help get us all three in the door. But that mom needs to be led directly into the office of a therapist like myself or Alice.
Let me say this, Sherry. Maybe a refinement of that is, let's go talk before you fire that therapist. Let's go talk with that therapist. You know, the mother, and then you, Gabe, and your wife, and let's see if we can gain some insight that maybe we don't have.
I love that, Steve. Right? Because it's going back to a place where the daughter knows. Great idea, Steve.
So I don't think you should, lecture her or give your opinion about what she's doing, because what you want is you want her and you in with that counselor. That could be the greatest favor ever. Later, you can kind of tell her, I think you're messing up here. Quick question for you, then I'll ask for Alice's input. How did the mother find out the daughter was pregnant?
She knew that her daughter was. She knew that her daughter and this man liked each other, and that they were sneaking to spend time with each other at times. And she caught her once or twice recently sneaking to spend time with this neighborhood boyfriend who she told her daughter she was not allowed to spend time with. And then the way they found out was they did a pregnancy test a week or two ago, because the daughter told her mother that they had slept together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they did a pregnancy test.
So here's the thing. I mean, the daughter could have never told her mother that and gone and had an abortion. Once she did realize she was pregnant, this guy probably would have paid for it. So there's something really valuable here, you know.
This mother could have really it would have broken her heart, but knowing that she was sexually active at 17, this mother could have suggested that she go and get on some kind of birth control, some protection, even though it goes counter design. A lot of times parents go, I can't do that because I'm giving her permission. No, you're trying to avoid a pregnancy right now. Alice?
Well, Alice, what are you thinking?
Gabe, I'm curious what your relationship is like with Mary. Are you kind of like adopted uncle and aunt to her?
My wife has been mentoring her for the past year or so, just a very informal mentorship, going out to coffee and things like that. And her mother has been a friend of ours for a couple of years. Her mother is a good Christian woman who has a good heart, but like you're hearing in this phone call, with some major control issues, I think. And so that's the background between us and the mother and the daughter.
I see abandonment all over this and over Linda's potential plan to send Mary away to a home. Even though she has good intentions, it might even be the right thing to do, I'm not sure. But for Mary, who has already lost her relationship with her biological parents, she's been moved to the United States. She's so ripe to be abandoned or to feel abandoned yet again with what will be going forward in this situation. So back to your question about whether or not she should live with you for a brief period of time, I do wonder if Mary and Linda both need that respite if you're willing to bring some chaos into your home temporarily. And I think you might look at it like this. You're sort of asking for trouble if you let Mary come and stay in your home. But I think this girl needs some grace and needs to feel like she's wanted and she belongs somewhere. And you and your wife may be able to do that if you put a lot of limits around the time you're willing to take her in and the interactions you're willing to have with her mom while she's under your roof. Because this is going to be difficult. But you might be able to love on her in a way nobody else really can right now.
And when you do something like that, you do it from the perspective of let's evaluate every Saturday night how it's gone and what we're going to do going forward. Gabe, I really do think you've got a crucial role here, one of wisdom and mercy, grace, trying to do the right thing here, and maybe God will use it. I think you and your wife have to decide how much trouble can we ask for? Are we in good shape here? Could we take this on? And no points off if you just simply can't do it. But if you can, what a great opportunity to be able to have some good solid input here, especially if you could get this mother in front of that counselor rather than her just letting her go. Let me send you a copy, just being grateful to you for calling us, copy of the Everyman's Bible. I hope that'll be a great gift for you. Anybody else, if you'd like to talk with myself, Steve Arterburn, Dr. Sherry Keffer, Dr. Alice Benton, 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Rick, Leesburg, Virginia. WAVA is the great station he listens to. Hey, Rick, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing, well, I've done better.
Done better, okay.
I've had a lot of stuff going on, but the recent thing, Easter, my wife had a medical spell that scared me and my daughter, like, really, really bad. Like, it was, I didn't know what it was, a stroke or what was going on. It was very, very scary. And this is after we had our service, and I was cooking Easter dinner and everything, and she had got taken to the hospital, but she's really, really mad at me. Like, she's blaming me for it happening, and
how's that? How does she say it's you're the responsible one for it happening? How's that work?
I think because there might be a possibility she might not be able to operate, a vehicle. I don't know what the underlining. I know she said that I should never call the ambulance, but she doesn't have a chronic illness. So it's not something that normally happens. So, I'm sitting here thinking, well, if it's something serious, like, say, a stroke, I was always told you got to hurry up and get somebody there as fast as possible.
That's right.
And Rick,
I would have done.
Has she lost her license temporarily because of the medical scare?
No, not yet. I mean, I don't even know, what. It's only been like, days, and I think right now she's upset herself. She was scared, and I think what I was trying to explain to her is just as much as you're scared waking up in the hospital. And I've been battling. I just lost a Marine Corps buddy probably about a week and a half ago, and I was also hospitalized with a lung infection probably about a month and a half ago. So, it's just been some really hard times right now, and with this COVID-19 going on and everything, it's just been very stressful. And it may be one of the reasons why this happened, because she was stressed or something. But
Rick, was there conflict between the two of you before she had this medical scare? Significant conflict?
Yeah, we have been kind of going through a spell, and I've been trying to figure out how to get back close to her.
And what would you say is the one thing she's most upset about with you before you called the ambulance, before the medical scare?
Well, right now, I just think that there's a lot of things that she would like to see me do, and I try to do them. Like, I'm trying to do more around the house. I'm trying to do, but it seems like it's the things that I don't do right that she tends to hang on more than the good things that I do. And
Critical spirit.
I try my hardest. I try my hardest.
Okay, hold on. We'll be back after this.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps. I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, April 18th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and I know some of you guys are really struggling, maybe being at home a lot. You're using alcohol too much, pornography, you've gone to whatever. Let us help you. We've got resources, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and a great family activity is to watch I Still Believe. You can get that on demand, or however you stream movies. And I got to tell you, it's really a good one. It's quite wonderful, the message and just the quality of the movie. I Still Believe. Well, we're talking with Rick, and his wife didn't like it that he called the ambulance, and seems like she's critical of everything he does, and he's trying to do better. Alice, you take it from here.
I think there's a universal tendency, Rick, that almost all of us have, which is to go on the defense, especially when the accusation seems pretty odd. How could she be mad that you called the ambulance? Of course you're going to call the ambulance. But there is some legitimate reason for her anger. It may be tied to you. It may precede you in your relationship with her. But defensiveness keeps her on the attack. And what lowers the level of the attack is to get curious about why she's angry rather than justifying that it's obvious you should have called the ambulance. And actually, I agree with that. But if you can get curious to dig below the surface level of her anger, all right, I know you're mad at me for calling the ambulance, and I really want to understand that better. Could you explain why that's upsetting you? And if you will keep asking questions instead of explaining yourself or justifying yourself, Rick, there's a possibility you can get to the deeper level answer, which is what really needs the solution. And maybe she needs to be validated. Her feelings need to be validated. But I think you've got to get curious and dig first.
And you know what's...
Yeah, and
go ahead.
We were having counseling with our pastor, and things were really going good then. And since it stopped, it just seems to, be going bad again. And I've been asking her and telling her we want to go back and start doing those counseling sessions because I think they really help. And she's like, well, we need to go see a professional. And I'm like, well, I don't get it. We're going good. I mean, yeah, we can see a professional on the side, but I thought that, continue what was working. And, I know that I'm not the best person in the world. I have my flaws, okay? I admit to them. I don't want to say them all over on the radio, but I know them. I tell her I know them, and I try to work on them. But I just don't know if she's like at this point where she hates me so much that I just can't do anything.
Well,
right,
Rick, you have an in with her. Her when she said, "Let's go see a professional counselor," she knows you two need help, and she's willing to get it. So I wouldn't camp on we need to go back to the pastor, but go with what she's willing to do. Take that steps. Do it today. Let us connect you with a counselor today because when she said that, she was willing. Don't miss out on that opportunity.
It's amazing how I'm hearing power struggles between you two, and I imagine those power struggles have been there for a while. When someone is controlling, just like our first caller, Linda, there's fear underneath that hasn't been addressed yet. And so people control, and their control hurts us. Now, in this case, guess who completely lost control? Who completely lost control? Your wife. Your wife. She lost control of her whole body. So in that moment of time, she felt helpless beyond.
Yeah.
And what happens when we feel helpless and powerless and out of control is we often blame others because of our fear. And we point the finger at somebody else, which is so confusing. Underneath anger is one of three things: hurt, fear, or sadness. She was afraid, out of her mind. She was out of control. And it's weird that we point at other people, but that's what we do when we're feeling in the victim, helpless position. Yeah. So I love what Alice said. I think get curious. Just say, I understand you were afraid. I would have been afraid. I understand I called. I didn't know what else to do. But what about me calling when you were afraid hurt you?
Yeah. And then the headline here, don't resist getting a professional here. When she's saying, let's get a professional, and you're really wanting things to be different, but you say, no, let's don't go do that. That doesn't make sense. So, yeah, hang in there with her, but go with her to a professional. Tell her, I found somebody. Let us hang on. We'll try to find it for you if you'd like. We'll do that. All right. If you need a professional, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. It's just that simple. And at that number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can go to newlife.com, you can find out about Saturday's Every Man's Battle. Now, let's just say you got a critical wife. And you go, man, I just can't do anything right. Well, maybe that's because you've never done anything to win back her heart after she discovered you had been a little bit unfaithful with pornography or something like that. So you go get that taken care of. And then you'll see how free you would be to connect with her. liberated. And she'll respond to that. Maybe the criticism would end. You'll never know if you don't call us. Maybe you know somebody, your husband, your son, who needs to go. Why don't you call for them and then say, hey, I called about this. You need to go. Here's the 800 number. You don't have to travel. You can do it right there in the privacy of your own home. A closet. You can do it right there. Nobody has to know. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Let's go right to our next caller. And let's see. How about George, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Hey, George, how are you today?
Oh, thank you very much for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I brought this up to your screener. I was married almost 25 years to a woman, and I think she had borderline personality disorder, but whatever.
Now, whatever you're doing with your phone, it's really loud. So if you could just talk to us in a normal.
Okay.
Well, let's don't be on speaker, and let's see if we can talk to you in a different way. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. This is better, right?
Much better. Much worse. I can't hear you now.
I don't know what else to do.
Just talk in the phone there.
If I could move a little bit. Okay, I'll try
Okay.
to.
There you go. What's your question for us? Just ask us a question since it's hard to hear you.
Okay. I divorced my wife 5 years ago after she had abandoned me 10 years ago. On the show last month, there's one of the women. It's been great guilt trip, even though I am remarried, because God does hate divorce. But one of your female personalities on your show brought up the fact that her fact was that it's not only adultery that's reason for divorce, it's also abandonment. So where in the Bible say that abandonment is a basis for divorce?
Well, let me read it to you. I'll read it to you in the New Living Translation, 1 Corinthians 7:15. It doesn't say abandonment. It says abandonment by a non-believer. And here's what it says. But if the husband or wife who isn't a believer insists on leaving, let them go. In such cases, the believing husband or wife is no longer bound to the other, for God has called you to live in peace. There it is.
Okay, I've read that before, but she is, we're both believers, so I still have this guilt.
Well,
Okay.
What is that guilt doing for you? Do you think that there are really only two reasons to have guilt? One is you haven't resolved something from the past, and the other is you're involved in something in the present. So she left you, you divorced her. Now, you say she's a believer. So what I would do is maybe I would confess to God I didn't know the scripture well enough, I wasn't trusting you enough, whatever it was on my part here, maybe I didn't work hard enough, whatever. And then accept the forgiveness that Christ gives you by his death on the cross. And for you to go and think that you're going to serve anybody by feeling guilty, really what you're saying is that torture that Jesus went through, well, it was meaningless to you. Listen, it wasn't meaningless. He wasn't just hung on a cross. He was brutally tortured for that sin. So I would like to see you accept that forgiveness and live in the mercy. You know, the Bible says God is rich in mercy. And I'd like you to live as if God is rich in mercy.
What would you be?
And we hate divorce here too. We do everything we can to prevent divorce. But once you've done something like this, you have to ask yourself, well, am I going to cause another divorce, or am I going to live as a free man? Alice, you have a comment here?
I was asking a question, Steve.
Okay.
Sherry.
All right.
So when your wife left, how long did she leave? How long did she leave for?
Okay, she left. Actually, it's almost the anniversary of 10 years.
But she left you for no. I mean, while you were married, you said she left. Did she leave you for 10 years, or did she leave you for a few months and then you filed?
She left 10 years ago, and I tried to work with our pastor and another pastor because God hates divorce. I wanted to even live in this imperfect marriage.
Right, but what I'm asking, I just want to simply know.
How long before you remarried or moved on?
Okay,
Simple
I was
question.
true to her for 6 years after she left me.
So wow. You waited for 6 years. Do you know that is a very important part of your story?
Sure is.
So why is it that you're feeling guilt when you waited 6 years for your believing spouse who left you? What is it about you that is feeling like you should have done more?
God hates divorce. That's it.
Okay, but you know what else he hates? He hates feet that run towards evil. He hates when people have discord in the family. There's a whole nother verse that says there's 6 things that God hates, no 7, that are an abomination to him. He hates when people leave and don't come back for 6 years because it hurts people.
Well, and let me make a clarification here, George. God hates divorce, right?
Yes.
Right? It doesn't say God hates people that get divorced. You act like the Bible says God hates people that get a divorce.
Boy, that's a good point. I'm going to write that down.
Well, he doesn't hate you. He loves you. Here's what I find so amazing about this Easter is I realized that those people that were driving these stakes into Jesus' hand and feet, he loved those people. Peter said, I never met you. He betrayed him. He left Jesus, not just a wife, and Jesus still loved him. And George, I hate to tell you this, but you're not that special that Jesus wouldn't love you. He loves you. He created you. And Satan, every day you wake up and feel guilty about that divorce and don't live into what Christ can do for you and wants to be to you, every day you do that, Satan wins and Christ loses connection with you. Now,
you have made many good points. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He's
all right,
pretty
well, I'm gonna
wise,
make another,
isn't he?
I'm going to make another good point. I'm going to send you Healing as a Choice. And I want to see you move on because, well, God's probably got an awful lot in store for you once you get out of this less than position, because you're not so. Isn't it horrible when people do something and they act like it's the unpardonable sin? When I paid for an abortion, I thought I had gone too far. I walked in shame, felt like God wanted me to believe or show people. Nobody's ever felt worse about this. That's exactly where Satan wanted me. And it was Christ who came in and said, no, come on. Yeah, you really, really messed up. But I love you. I want to forgive you. That's what Jesus does for us.
And Steve, such an important part of your healing process that you went through and that you teach the rest of us to do is that we have to let the love in. And we have to do that by surrounding ourselves with other people and telling these stories that George is telling now. My concern is that he's been too isolated for this guilt to be so heavy for these 5 years. Let that love in, George, like you did during our phone call, but you got to keep doing that on a regular basis with peers that can hear you and love you through it. And then continue your process of self-evaluation, because you were imperfect in your marriage. And maybe there is some legitimate guilt that you're holding on to of your own shortcomings, not having to do with the waiting period, the 6 years, but other ways that you may have failed or fallen short. Share those with trustworthy peers, and then you will start feeling God's forgiveness that we know to be there for you through those other folks.
This ministry was founded 31 years ago with 3 words, and one of those words is transformation. It's based on God's truth. Well, what we talk about in transformation is you take something that is evil, or Satan intends it for evil, and you flip it and you turn it into something good. So here's something you could do. Why don't you get involved in divorce recovery? And why don't you go through that class? And then why don't you teach that class, helping other people to avoid what you went through? Oh my goodness, now all of that turns into something where somebody's sitting there going, man, I tell you, I'm gonna call her up. I thought we were getting a divorce. I got to save this marriage. That's what I would do, something like that. Or become a premarital counselor. We've got some of the people on our board are these great volunteer premarital counseling folks. You could do that too. That's transformation. That's what we want to see. All right, when we come back, we'll go back to calls at 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be here for another hour. We're on Facebook Live. We're going to see what we look like. It's not that special, but we are here. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back after this.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, April 18th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening I got released.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the Transformation Welcome Gift, which includes a personal-sized Life Recovery Bible, a Life Recovery Journal, and 5 Life Recovery Workbooks. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Joining us, Larry Sonnenberg. Larry, you got a word for us today?
Yes, sir. It's help.
There you go.
I have an interesting little testimony. This man writes, well over a decade ago, my wife and I went through a hard season of marriage because I lied to her about our financial debt. New Life played a big role in restoring our marriage. Somebody there told me to get Worthy of Her Trust and cross out anything that had to do with sex and substitute finances. I did so and worked to follow what it said. Between that and some counseling, her graciousness, and God's help, our marriage became better than ever. But at the end of 2017, she died of cancer. We'd been married 26 years, have 3 daughters. I struggle to learn how to be a single dad. I'm a police officer. My mom has Alzheimer's. My dad has cancer. All my siblings are out of state. I take care of them. And then he just goes on and talks about he's hoping to have a restoration as Job did. But the thing that I love about this is he joined Club New Life after his wife died, and he's in the midst of all this pain.
Wow.
And so my hat's off to this man, and I thank him, and I wish I could somehow convey the gratitude and convey how meaningful that is, and encourage other folks. It's so easy for us to really feel bad about not being able to give because of our circumstances, but look what this man did.
It's like he paid it forward. You know, he was listening to us. There was wisdom. He got the book, right? Because he called in here.
Yeah.
And then his life changed. And then he said, you know what? I'm not going to hold on to the goods. I'm going to give the goods back to the place where I got them originally. So it's a great testimony. And how many of us listen to the show, and on a regular basis we get the goods? And all we're asking, and what you're saying, Larry, is can you just pay it forward? Just sign up for, just a donation per month.
And we've been saying how important Club New Life is, especially these days when things are so uncertain. So thank you, Club New Life members. If you can join Club New Life, it's $30 or more a month. Just call us at 800-NEW-LIFE. You could sign up online. We've got thank you gifts and benefits, but the real reason to give is that you're helping a ministry continue to reach out, touch people, lives change. The radio program can continue, and I don't know what else to say. If you can't join Club New Life, maybe a single gift.
Well, let me just say this. I used to be a leftover giver, and I would get my check, and whatever I had left over, I was happy to give a little bit of that. And I want to tell you, a lot of leftover givers might be falling out of the giving process right now. But if you've never felt truly blessed in giving and grateful that you gave, go from being a leftover giver to being a first fruit giver. That's what God expected. When the grapes came in, he expected people to make a sacrifice of the best grapes that were just ripe. He'd say, give those to me. Those are mine. You keep the rest. And if we start practicing that, the blessings, well, you won't be calling here saying, I went from leftover giving to first fruits giving, and I'm miserable. You'll be saying, wow, did that ever transform my life? You call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, $30 a month, and you get to be part of Club New Life. It sustains us, and we'll send you the transformation packet, Life Recovery Bible, 5 workbooks, a great directed journal.
And last,
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Last thought
Yes.
is we'd love to have some first-time givers too, along with the first fruit givers. So if you've
First
never
fruit, first time.
never given before, take it as a challenge. Thanks.
And you know what, I want to add to that one more thing. They're faith givers. So those that I give to, I do the auto debit so that I don't even have to think about it. I just by faith set that aside. And it's weird how it goes out and I just go, oh yeah, it's doing it. I don't have to make a decision every month. I just trust God every month to provide that. So
thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we don't have enough time, but I do want to get to one more caller here. And then if you want to join us on the next program, you can watch it on Facebook Live. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. Evelyn from Cincinnati, Ohio, WCVX. Evelyn, don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to see if we could get your call in here. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, and I really appreciate you being there because you do help a lot of people. And I'm just wondering what your answer would be if I asked you something. How do I get rid of spirits in my home? I think I've tried about everything. It's been 2 or 3 years that I have lived with them. They find me wherever I go. I moved, and I'll say in about a week, they found where I was living, and here they came. They tear up my clothes. They rip my clothes. They get in my closets, rip my clothes. They rip up everything. They want it real stringy, everything that they tear up. And they'll take bowls out of furniture. They will ruin the prettiest furniture you have.
Okay,
And
now you say that these were in your previous home, and now you're finding them in this home too. Okay. Well, let's let Sherry address this first, as we're trying to. I want to get some good truth to you before we have to go. Sherry, what are you thinking?
So I'm going to do something, girl. I'm going to take you at your word. And I had a situation recently. We moved into a new home and felt like there was some oppression there. We had some people come in and pray. And I had an evangelist friend of mine say this, Sherry, I want you to go online to YouTube and I want you to find music on the blood of Jesus. And I want you to play that in your house 24/7. And you know?
Oh, I don't have a computer, honey. I have none of that stuff.
Okay, so guess what? We're going to have somebody, you're going to stay on the line, and we're going to have somebody hook you up to someone in your area, a local pastor. Somebody could give you a CD player that plays over and over again. But I tell you something, we had that going for at least a couple months, and things lifted. So I'm going to take you at your word, girl. But stay on the line and we'll get you connected to a church where somebody can come in, pray for your home, and help you. You don't need to be in this alone. The Lord wants to empower you.
And Evelyn, if they're following you from house to house, my concern is what legal right they may have to you personally. And so there's a spiritual cleansing that you should go through of looking at any unconfessed sin that you hold on to, any unforgiveness towards anyone else that has harmed you, or a family pattern of sin, because there can be generational spirits that gained a legal right to our family because of what our ancestors did. But we can stand as a personal representative today, and we can confess the sins of our family, ask for forgiveness, and claim that deliverance, that those who call upon the name of the Lord will be delivered. We've got the power and the authority, and we've got to use it, but do a deep spiritual cleansing.
And don't do it alone, girl. Don't be isolated. That's what the enemy wants. He wants you to be afraid. We reached out to prayer teams. We had people in. We did everything that these people said until it stopped.
All right. So we're saying to you, do what you can and not do it alone. And we do know, I believe, that there are evil influences in this world. And so do what you can with somebody else, with help, bring them in. Now, if none of that produces a change.
I did that one time, and hopefully that it was going to help, but it didn't help at all.
Well, let's do it again and see what happens then. But if it doesn't, then sometimes you have to look at some other options. Is this something that maybe is a repeat of some feelings you had as a child, and you resolve that, and then the oppression goes away? But you've got some work to do, and we hope that there's victory at the end of it. 1-800-229-3000 or Facebook. You could find us right there. We'd love to have you for another hour. Thank you, Dr. Alice Benton. Thank you, Dr. Sherry Keffer. Thanks to all of you who support us.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.